Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna do this gorgeous fall tumbler. This is not my original design. This is actually VMD Designs. Please check out her channel. She is amazing. And I just loved it so much that I had to do one for myself and one for my sister for a giveaway for her PTA silent auction. So we'll get right into it, but if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Let's get started. Alrighty, so we're starting with a sanded and prepped tumbler, and I'm just going to mark off 2.5 inches from the top and the bottoms to make our thirds, and it doesn't have to be super exact, you guys. I just use these stacked tape rolls to create a line all the way around. I hold my pen steady and move my tumbler, and then I just take this painter's tape and go right along that line to get a perfectly straight and sectioned off areas. So I'm just going to do that for top and bottom, following that line. And after I get this done, we're going to move into painting that middle section. And I'm using this Claret Wine by Rust-Oleum 2x line. And I let that completely dry, and then I just take off the tape, use the same tape, and section off that middle to kind of protect it. We'll deal with that part later. And then I'm just going to put on a thin coat of epoxy. It's not going to be quite as thin as I normally would because I've got a lot of glitter going on this top and the bottom. And I want to make sure that we get it, have enough epoxy to be able to get it blended really, really well. So I just kind of go through and put the epoxy on. I'm going to run a torch over just to get any bubbles out so I have a good base to work with. And then I am going to go ahead and just show these glitters as I go through. I start with these lightest ones and then move into the darker ones. And the idea here is to get a good section of these glitters and be able to kind of blend them. You don't want any like super sharp, harsh lines. And I'm not putting on very much of each of these colors, really just a super light sprinkling. We're trying to get a really good ombre fade kind of situation going on here because we want them to blend together. And this is really repetitive, so I'll just let you guys watch for a little bit and I'll be back in a minute. Alrighty, so after I get all of these colors on, I'm actually going to go back through with another coat just to make sure all the colors pop and I get good coverage. I'm going to kind of branch them out a little bit just to be able to cover all the white. You shouldn't see any white when we're done with this glitter part. I know, it looks like a big hot mess right now, but trust the process, it all comes together in the end. So after I get the coverage that I want here, making sure all the colors pop and all the white is covered, I go through and I take off the tape, which is oh so satisfying to see those like super crisp lines. And then I let this cure for 3 hours. And then I come back through and I put on a super thin coat of epoxy right in the center. And I have mixed up this combination of reds. I'll show the colors here in a second. And this darker color is going to be what we're going to start off with on the outside edges. So the top and the bottom of this middle section. And then the straight red one in the bottle is what we're going to put in the middle. And I'm going to try to get an ombre here, and instead of taking it off and tipping it side to side or angling it or whatever, I'm going to go ahead and just sprinkle on a little bit at a time until I feel like I've got a good amount of ombre. And then, you know, you can kind of tell when it's a good amount of glitter on there and you don't have any like super spotty parts or anything like that, and it's nice and dry looking. And don't worry about getting over the edge here at all with this color, because with the colors we're using, it's very forgiving, and we're going to tape this part off and spray paint anyway. So just I go back and forth a little bit between the two colors, and I'll let you watch for a minute and I'll be back in a minute. Alrighty, so after I'm done being OCD with this and going back and forth, I'm going to let this cure for 3 hours, and then I'm going to come in and epoxy until smooth, and then we're going to move into the next part. So we're taping off this middle, excuse my big fat head in the way, you guys, so that we can get nice crisp lines. And I just chose some leaves that I found on Google Clip Art and ran them through my silhouette, and I just kind of randomly place them. There's no rhyme or reason to this, just wherever I thought it might look okay. And some I kind of went over that center tape line to be able to just have some randomness. And I just continue to go through and place these randomly, sporadically, wherever the notion grabbed me. And then I took it outside and spray painted the top and bottom flat white from that Rust-Oleum 2x line. And I just got a really good coverage of that white using a couple of really thin coats of white until it was completely opaque. And then I let that completely dry, and I come in and take off all of those leaves that we just put on, revealing that peekaboo underneath. And I'll just let you watch this part as it's repetitive as well. I did want to mention that I used 651 vinyl, but you could use 631 vinyl or like stencil vinyl. Any of those would work. I just have a lot of this yellow, so that's what I used. And as you guys are picking the leaves off, try to pull in or scrape in towards the middle of the leaf as you're scraping that vinyl off or picking that vinyl off. You're less likely to run into the paint on the sides of your peekaboo, but if you do, it's not a big deal. Just take some white spray paint. I just sprayed a little bit into a medicine cup and took a little paintbrush and kind of dabbed over the runs, because I did get a couple runs, not very many, but if you scrape towards the middle or pick out towards the middle, then you're less likely to run into that paint. Just a little tidbit of information. Then we just take this tape off and we're ready to move on to the next part, which is with the vinyl. I got this vinyl from Amazon. It's a textured gold vinyl. I also got a copper, and they're actually two totally different textures. They're super pretty. They are thicker than like your 651 vinyl, more stiff, I guess is the way to put it. So it gave me a little bit of struggle, but just take your time here and keep at it. You'll prevail in the end. And to do the outline of the leaves that we did for the PEEKABOO, I just took each leaf shape, and in the Silhouette Studio software, I did an offset, and that gave me an outer layer of each leaf shape. I did wind up going back and making it thicker than that last sheet, so that's what I'm using here. It was super hard to weed as thin as I had it before. So I just go through and carefully line up around the edges of these PEEKABOO leaves and put down each gold piece. If you guys struggle, just gently pick it up. Your paint should be completely dry already, so if you have to pick it up, it shouldn't. If you have to pick it up right away, it shouldn't pull any paint off. If you're concerned about this, you can definitely go in with a coat of epoxy before you start this process. And I didn't do every single one with an outline. I left some plain just to give it some variance. So after I got all the outlines that I wanted done, then I go through, I made these just solid leaves. I just shrunk the leaves that I had done for the bigger offsets, added in I think one or two other shapes and shrunk them down, and just same thing with the other stuff, just putting it on super randomly. When I get all the leaves on that I want, I then go through and put the wording on, and I like to put my transfer tape down and kind of position my vinyl backing onto the transfer tape and kind of roll at the same time, roll the vinyl on as I'm rolling the backing off. And then I just trim it close to the design, so that way I don't have to like do any guesswork with the sizing or the placement of it. On this particular one, I just went ahead and carefully got the backing off of it. Sometimes I'll do like the hinge method and leave the backing on, but this time I just decided to try to eyeball it. It's such a small section that I felt like I could get it on pretty well. So go through, put the vinyl on, press it all down really well, and then I cut these strips at 0.25 by 11.5 long. I wanted to give myself enough room to go all the way around the cup without any issues. And then I just follow the lines of the white where the white meets the red and go along and match them up, and then I cut them off right where the seams meet and repeat for the top section. And like I said, just following that white around. Sorry I'm out of screen here, you guys, my gosh. After I got the lines on, I did a coat of epoxy, let that cure for 8 hours, and then I sanded the rim, washed it up, and went ahead and did a final coat because it wasn't quite smooth. But that's it. It came out so stinking beautiful. Oh my gosh. I wish you guys could see it in person because it is amazing. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Let me know if you guys like the beginning of this video, or if you would rather have me come on screen and share with you guys what we're gonna do. If you guys like to see my face, if you guys just want to get right to it, I promise I won't be offended. Let me know. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and I hope you guys have a super blessed day. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.